What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Thursday Night Airbrush Down and Dirty Tricks. We should have sound. Yeah, I think we have sound. Yeah, video. Extra music should not be playing. And we should not be getting a double audio. So if that's all working for everyone, let me see. Check. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. I think we're good. Cool. Sounds good. Good. How's the mic sound tonight? Might be a little better. I did some adjustments, and I did get a new mic, which is right here, which is actually a wireless, so no more wired lavalier mic. This is a wireless one that I got during Prime days. And I took my chain off, so you won't get the ching, 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 because that was rattling around in here. And I did some adjustment to try to get rid of the air conditioning noise, which is still a little present in the background, but it shouldn't be too bad. So let me know what you guys think. I'll go quiet for a second. And I can actually lower the background, but then my voice might be lower. But let's see how that goes. I'm going to lower it 2 notches and see. So I lowered the background, but now is my voice enough, or is it too quiet? Might be too quiet. But it's hard for me to tell on my end. Yeah, it sounds too quiet. Let me go back up just a little bit. Yeah, the AC is in the background a little bit, but I think we'll deal with it. Sounds good to go. Thank you. Yeah, I think when I lowered the gain down, it cuts the AC in the background, but then my voice is... Yeah, turn the sound up, yeah. So, I think we'll be better there. Oh, that was a little too much, I think. Yeah, let's keep it the yellow when I talk. Oh, my gauges, they bounce up and down. If it goes in the red, that's when you get that really loud peaking noise. Yeah, I got this one mic, and this actually has a left and right channel, so I could actually have 2. But we don't need that. I think that's getting too crazy. How's everyone doing this week? We got a few people in the house tonight. That's good. Got like 20 of you guys in. Thank you for popping in for Airbrush Down Dirty Tricks Thursday night edition. We got some good stuff going on. Let's see what we got here. We got Robert, Olin, Brian, Todd, Raymond Shea, London Penn, Dale. What's going on? Bill Douglas, Gary Sheaves. What's going on? Now this is do King Crown, number 3. I don't know what that whole thing is about. No idea. Must be something new. YouTube's always adding stuff. Maybe for the better. Don't know. So we'll see. So, cheers. Hope everyone's having a good week. Last week, did I do it? No, last week didn't happen. I think last week was the week I tried, and just nothing was working right. I forget, it's been real busy. Busy around here. We're summer in full swing. So, yeah. So we got some cool stuff going on. We got some cool stuff happening. Tonight I'm painting the alien. It's funny because I always go through my stuff like middle of the week to maybe get some ideas and see what I've done in the past and scan through. And I saw the Predator one that I did like almost 3 years ago now. It was 2022. The Prey one, which was a really cool painting. I love the way that came out. And I didn't have any intention of doing the Alien, which is Alien versus Predator. If anyone knows the lore, they kind of cross over. But, so I still didn't have any idea what I was going to paint today. I was going back and forth in a few things, which one of the things we're going to go next week, I think. But I'll talk about that in a little bit. I was, having my coffee this morning, go through YouTube, and, one of those channels came across like the history of, like the timeline of, and it was a timeline of aliens, and it walked through all the different Alien movies and the new ones, Prometheus and lore, and that kind of stuck with me this morning. I said, I've never done an Alien live feed. I've never even really painted an Alien. I did a silhouette once. We did a project at the Airbrush Art Circus where I did Lumalore, which when it turns on and off, the alien comes in and out, which is really cool. I meant to grab that tonight, but I just didn't. So yeah, it just stuck in my head. So, going through online, this is kind of a classic image that has been around, and I just did a quick, sketch version of it, a little bit more my style, a little bit more exaggerated. And let me switch over. And so that's what we're going to do here. What I've always wanted to do, you don't see it often, but most people don't even realize that in the Xenomorph, the alien, there's actually a human skull under here. This is actually meant to be kind of clear and smoked. I've not done a samurai. That is on the list of things to do, like a Shogun warrior, samurai. I've done a Viking. Samurai is definitely on there. Or some type of, yeah, that's definitely on there. But what a lot of people don't realize is it's not just smooth here. It was intended, but you didn't really see it in the movie much. You see a lot of illustrations. You see it in modern sculpts and stuff. But you can actually kind of see through, and it's kind of clear. And you can actually see a human skull here. So I'm going to try to add that in to it. I don't know if you can see it here. Let's see how this camera is. Yeah, that's pretty good. But you can see, so I just sketched it in there. So let's talk about how I'm going to approach this one. This is going to be mostly freehand, a little paper masking. So you don't need any fancy tools or fancy things. This is an approach that I do for most motorcycles and cars and artwork and things like that. And that's what I really wanted to get across here, was how to do, you get a black hood, a black motorcycle, gas tank, fender, anything like that. This is the process that you would go through, especially if you don't have a plotter, to do something like freehand and semi-freehand and kind of structure and break down a project. Water. So, what I've done here, this is my sketch. That I did in the computer. If you saw the concept and if you see the reference image here, down the bottom, it's just a quick sketch. I threw a couple different variations out of you on my Facebook and socials. You saw I threw like a green, a red, and blue, and things. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm still in the fence if I'm going to do like a blue light, kind of a blue glowing background, and then maybe have some green blood spatter and stuff like that. It's kind of what I'm thinking. And then maybe like the drool and stuff will be green. That bright, like, alien green, I think might be kind of cool. So I'm kind of working it out, and, that's the one thing I do in these live feeds a lot. I don't often, sometimes I do, sometimes I know exactly how I'm going to paint it, every step, every color. But sometimes I like to do these feeds and just kind of wing it in a way that this is how I would work normally. This is how I would, if I wasn't doing a live feed, I was doing a project for a customer, this is kind of how I'd approach it. So how am I going to approach it? What am I going to do on this one? What's the plan? Am I going to plot it? Am I going to vector it? If I'm going to do this stuff? And typically, if I'm only doing it once, and it's already vectored and it doesn't really require it, I usually do paper cut. If I don't do just total freehand, I would usually do like a paper cut where I print out the reference image of the sketch 5 or 6 times so I have it, and I would do a transfer like I'm doing the transfer here. And then I would, Kelly Ross, what's going on? I would take the transfer and then maybe cut the paper and use kind of a loose stencil. If I was doing the left and right of a motorcycle, both sides of a car or van, and I got to do everything twice, I may do the paper thing, depending how I want to do it. But a lot of times I would at least maybe do some vector in some work, just to kind of make sure both sides are really uniform. And I do vector work a lot, because sometimes I do jobs with vehicles where I'm nowhere near the vehicle. I don't have it. I might be flying out on the road to go do it. So I do a lot of that pre-work by designing a vector and pre-cutting certain masks, certain things ahead of time before I even get out to the job. So I'm already a day into the painting before I even get on site. So that's what that's kind of how I approach a lot of stuff. Subscribe to Kelly. I'm ready for slow down so I can paint. Dang. So yeah. All right. So let's talk about this. I'm going to take my picture off here. Before I do that, let's give a good old Thursday night cheers, everyone. Cheers, cheers. Everyone has a good night. Let's go back to this. All right. Yeah, summer is, so for me, summer's a little on the slower side, but I do have a lot of work in here. I got to letter 2 police cruisers tomorrow, 2 more next week on vinyl. And then I got I'm teaching a private session next week with a cool artist. I got 4 parts of a bagger. We're doing skulls inside the racing stripes. We got that going on. I got that other chopper going on. I got a gas tank with an eagle that's going to be designed. So that's all kind of the next. That's probably going to take up most of the next few weeks into mid-August or so. And then some other odds and ends and stuff. So yeah, a lot going on. Usually a little slower this time of year in the summer, but this time I'm not. So I'm thankful. It's cool. It's work. All right. So what I've done for my transfer, I have a. I'm going to scoot this. Let's scoot this over just a hair so it's out of frame. All right. So I have an 11 by 17. I'm gonna do a vector on stream tri-koi with Frisket. Really got confused as far as like vectoring or koi and stuff. So I am going to do vector lessons, but I'm not going to do them on a live stream here really, just because it's not content enough people are going to really watch. I have been trying to put together and I just haven't done it, and it's kind of my bad. I've been planning on putting together, like 1-2 hour sessions through Zoom, which will be a paid thing, where I'll walk you through how I vectorize things. So that is kind of coming up. Yeah, I am going to plan on doing something like that. I just haven't done it because I want to do it right, and I haven't put the time in to set it up to make sure everyone gets the right thing out of it. But vectoring kois are tricky, and here's the thing about vectoring kois, and I've done them, obviously, because I've painted a lot of koi. You don't do a lot with the vector on that. Basically, I would use the koi, I would use just the outer silhouette, maybe a few key moments. The rest it's freehand. Yeah, it's not a lot of vectoring in koi, so, because I've done quite a few. But we can talk about that. Painting as you go, try the background, foreground. Yeah, you just got to break it down simple. The one thing when you're vectoring, a lot of guys make the mistake of is you overdo it. Too many sections, too many traces, too many things to pull. I usually try to keep it simple. Like if I was to do this, pretend this is going to be a koi, which is very similar. It's all smooth, organic, smooth shape. If I was to vector this, I would have a vector silhouette, which is basically, I've already pre-cut. I would vector this outline, whoop, and then I would probably do 3 other pieces. I would maybe outer trace the shape of the head, so that's a vector. I would probably do this tail and maybe the brakes, so I could go. I would vector that, and I would probably vector the hand. So you'd have the silhouette, the head, and then all this little stuff. I wouldn't vector this. I would paper cut it, or just freehand it. So you think when I vector stuff, my vector process, what I found worked the best for me in teaching and getting a result at the end that doesn't look overly vectored, stenciled, is I minimize how much I vector and then use a lot more freehand and paper cutting. So I always match a paper cut printout along with the vectorization. That way I can freehand in, I can use loose work with a paper cut and keep certain other colors or big block outs with the vector is kind of how I do it. But it's a lot too. It's hard to get to on sessions, so it has to be like a multi-session project. But I just haven't felt if enough people are into it to do it, because I can't do it with 1 or 2 people. It just takes too long. It's too many hours of the day. When I do it in workshops and classes, we've done them before. It's tough to get enough people to be on the same program and pay attention. Everyone uses different software. That's always the issue too. So, all right. Aside from that, let's get to painting. So what I'm going to do here, there's kind of 2 ways I approach it. So what you'll notice here is I have this printout, which is this 11 by 17 panel that I've done a 3/4 inch tape around. This is 11 by 17 exactly, so it's scaled. This paper cut is from the same one, and I have the edge here, so everything lines up, okay? So everything registers with each other pretty darn well. It's a little, yeah, we're good. Everything lines up, okay? That's key to what I'm about to do. So what I'm going to do, I'm trying to think, because I want to do like a splatter background. So I may want to do like a frisket mask, not frisket, because I don't use frisket material. And so Brian, if you use the term frisket, I always try to ask people who use it frisket. Are you just calling any masking material frisket, or are you actually using the material itself that's branded and called frisket? Let me know, because I've always been curious if people actually know there's a difference. So what I'm going to do actually, because I want to have like a hard shape. I want to do the background like this. No, I don't want it that crisp. I don't need it that crisp. Sorry. All right, we're going to do an image transfer first. So image transfer, really simple. I know this is counterintuitive, and I've shown this before. This is a 6B or 4B. You can use either. Soft pencil. I've just basically scraped it on the back and just really coated the whole back. I did forget a pen. There we go. And basically I just make my own Sorel paper is what I'm doing. Okay? Get in position here. So I rub this all over the back. Masking material. Made by Vivid, I think. Okay. So here's the problem. Vivid's an Amazon brand, and I really don't trust half their crap, so I don't really recommend it. But I don't know, so if you've had no problems with it, fine. Vivid is mainly a vinyl company that does permanent vinyl, stick-on vinyl that stays. It's not really masking material. I know a lot of guys get away with it because it's low tack or temporary. They get away with it on base coat, but it does have issues. So you just got to be careful because a lot of that stuff leaves residue. It leaves stuff behind because it's really not designed to be done with paint. It's really just designed to be stickers. So I always use it's specifically called paint mask. Avery makes it. FBS makes it. General Formulations makes it. Oracal makes it, but I don't recommend Oracal because their white paint mask leaves glue behind on solvents. But all the other vinyls, guys use it. Some people recommend it and swear by it because it works for them. I don't care. It's not really specifically designed for it. I really recommend against it. And if it actually says frisket, those mask materials, semi-transparent, like clear frisket film, it's been around since probably, I don't even know, the 50s. So a lot of people just called tape and masking frisket. But there's actually material called frisket. And that stuff does not play well with cleared surfaces, solvent bases. It's a real problem. So, just be careful what you're using for masking. I like to hear the term paint mask. When I hear frisket, I get worried. Alright, that being said, let's get to the transfer. So, black panel, black. Everyone's like, oh, well, how's it going to show up? Because it does. You can use white Sorel paper, but I always found the white Sorel to be a little too chalky. It leaves too much of a registration behind. So I like to just use this, and you'll see what's going to happen here. And locking down colors on the spray gunner statue. What spray gunner statue are you doing? You doing the airbrush holder one? You know, I got one of those. One of these guys. I did this one, just a yellow Xeno, which I got to paint this at some point. Maybe a future video. Maybe I'll do that. I got to do that maybe with tabletop airbrush. I do have something cool coming up. I'm going to plan this for next week's feed. Let's take this out now. Spray Gunner sent me these, which these are great. So I think I'm going to do this on next week's feed. Sorry, let me chair. These are mini hoods. So they sent me 2 of these. Sent me a white one and a silver metallic. And these are great. And they're actually really heavy metal. They got nice bends, so they're not floppy. They're super strong and rigid. And they're actually painted. They're not just an E-coat or powder coat. You can tell they're painted because you can see the backside where they had it on standoffs and it got a little spray, which is cool. So these can be scuffed down and sanded. What I think we're going to do is do a basic, like, kind of a lowrider style panel, maybe a racing stripe with some lowrider panel work, and then maybe a bunch of skulls in here or something like that. I might do that next week if you guys like the idea of that. But yeah, so they sent me a couple of these. We're going to do a couple of these on the feed. And it's a little magnets they sent me, which these are great. Well, guys, and they stick to aluminum. No, they don't really stick to aluminum, but they're powerful enough to go through the material. Airtall, what's happening? Okay, where's my pen? I just had it. Does anyone see my pen? I just had my red pen. Mr. Leahy! What is happening? I just had an actual pen. I lost it. Oh, fell on the floor. At least it wasn't right in front of me. I was thinking about getting them from Line. Yeah, I don't know if the Line ones are steel. They might be. I haven't gotten from him. Or if... because some of the mini hoods out there are plastic, which are fine. But these are like really thick steel. So I would definitely double check. The steel ones are much better. And they come in, like he sent me a white, they sent me a white one, a silver one. I know they have black. So they're already base coated and cleared. They're ready to go, which is great. Okay, I thought I was talking to the camera. Sorry that I didn't. I should have done this when I was talking, but I didn't. So I'm still on my mini system, my mini setup. I don't have my big setup I normally have, so it's harder for me to know what's happening. Because the other systems show me different previews. And so, okay, back to what I'm doing. So we have the paper transfer, and what you'll notice. I'm going to do a test here. If you look, and I'm going to try not to move it. If you look, you can kind of see it there. Let me see if we switch camera angles if you can see it more. This one you probably see less. There you go. See it? The line shows up dark, but because it's graphite, it has a little shift to it, which I like because I can see it working up close, but from a foot or so away, once you've airbrushed it, the line work is gone, which is really awesome. So if I do this whole guy, and do a little bit of the reference, and this guy's going to have a skull in here, like I said at the beginning. All Xenomorphs, actually, you can see the human skull through the head. So I'm going to do that and kind of add that in, kind of make this like a clear dome. So if I do that, I should be able to go here and see, you can see the lines nicely. It's perfect because you can see it, but if any residue wouldn't really be there when your painting's done, and if it was, it'd be so hard to see, your client wouldn't see it, which is cool. So it's enough to work from. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer this image. This is the same as sketching it. Any cool technique on the hood off? Yeah, this is the same. This is the exact same technique I do on the hood, or a car, or a motorcycle. I think in next week's hood I'll do a lowrider tape out with some graphics inside. But see how now you're starting to see all the detail. Let's see if we. I don't want to move it too much because I don't want to shift anything. But you should be. I have these magnets to kind of center things. But see, yeah, there you go. See how you can see that? It's nice and clear. Alright, let's get this drawn out. So this is really just tracing at this point. Tracer. You're just a tracer, man. What movie is that from? Anyone know? Still one of my faves. And then there's a secondary jaw in here. You should be able to see. Yeah, see? You can see the whole thing. Perfect. But if you... So watch. You can see it in this angle. You can't really see it at that angle. You can see it at that angle. You don't see it at that. So I like Sorel. I used to love it. And Sorel Graphite does the same thing as this does. But I always tried to use a Sorel White. And I used it quite a few times. But I always found it left just too big. It left too much behind. It was like having a big... It was hard to get rid of the white transfer unless you really worked it out. So I started not liking Sorel for that reason. Now this area here, there's like the rib cage in here. It's really in silhouette, so we're not going to do much with it. And here's the left arm that just goes down. It's again, it's in silhouette. It's not going to really be seen too much. And this is the shoulder, and this actually goes down to here to this arm. Here's the forearm, the elbow. I'm just really keeping it loose because I'm going to freehand a lot of this. This is just registration. So you always get the guys like, oh, you did transfer, you traced it, you cheated, you did this, you did this. Still hate when people say that because it's like, dude, I'm just doing a sketch and a registration so I can do the painting really cool. Like, I'm not trying to like prove I can paint something from memory or perfect from like looking at something. You know, and it's funny, you always see people say that stuff. I've said this before on the airbrush side. Like, oh, you traced it, oh, you did this, oh, you did that. No, Brian, the 2B, you can use a 2B, but I used a 4B on this. So I like a 4B or a 6B. So a little shock. 2B will do it, but you don't get enough. If I was on like a white or light color background, a background, a 2B would work. But the graphite's not soft enough to transfer well. So get a 4B or 6B. So I like 6 for most things, but a 4 does the job. Oh, so back to my little stencil rant. You know, people always like, I'm going to say it, because they talk shit. You know, oh, you use a stencil, oh, you do this, you should do a total freehand control. Yeah, but everyone who bitches about that can't freehand to save their lives half the time anyway. I'm just going to say it flat out. Just being brutally honest. Most people who bitch about, oh, you didn't do it all freehand, you used this, they can't freehand to save their life anyway. So, you know, prove me wrong. There's a few that can, but the guys who really can usually don't crap on people who use other techniques. Just saying. Sorry. But the one industry people use stencils all the time is tattooing. No one complains. You know why no one complains? Because if you're getting a tattoo done permanent, you want it as perfect as you can get it. So that guy can use any trick he can, and everyone's fine with it. Which they should be. And so, I don't know. That's just my little rant. It's a constant rant, and it's in my head. And I shouldn't even let it bother me, but it still does. If I was to vector this, I would, like I said, I would probably do all these shapes. Well, yeah, and I've said that. Like, here's brush, do it. The problem is, you get your keyboard warriors online who make a lot of stink, and will say shit. And and I've looked at most of their work, and most of them have no business talking any smack whatsoever. They couldn't do it with a stencil in my hand guiding them. tattooing and airbrushing have similarities in art and design, but they're two totally different tool sets and ways to process something. But yeah, I know what you're saying. So there we go. Oh look, nothing there. But go from this angle. Well, not that angle. This angle. So now you should be able. See, it's even hard to see from there, but when you zoom in, you can see all the line work. So it's cool. And this one is, I'm going to make some pieces go off. Because what I'm thinking of doing is actually, let me zoom back out. I think I might 45 these, so it's like he's coming through a doorway. I think would be kind of cool. Yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool. So we got to cut these guys out. Yeah. Which I can do that after, actually. Alright. So what I'm going to do, I would have, if I wanted it super crisp, and I kind of did for certain reasons, but I'm going to do without it. You can line this guy up. So this is the one, same image, when I print this out, I print 3 or 4 of the same image. Okay? That way, everything lines up. And you print them at the same time, same settings. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this, get it down, and then I can finally show you this trick because I did it. Alright, so I got this tape so these won't move, but what happens here? How do you get these guys down? You don't have, this one's a sticker. It's not a mask. So how would you tape these down? There's a little tool. I saw this years ago, and I do it very rarely, but it does work really good. So what's the best way? What do you think? How do you hold these down without them blowing all over the place? Anyone got any ideas? You could roll tape. So you could do like this. So you could do the roll of the tape like this, go like that, and that does work to a degree, but it does lift off a little bit. And here's the thing. The other problem with doing that sometimes is if you're doing a lot of fine airbrush work, Jason's got it, hole punch. And I remember watching, Michael Casey. Michael Casey was the one that came up with these. Doing illustration. They were doing fine art and illustration boards with gouache and stuff like that. If you know anything about gouache, whatever, Steve Leahy can pronounce it. I freaking can't. That stuff scratches off really easy, so you don't want to be taping to it a lot because you have problems. So what you do is take a little, you drop that on the floor. Oh, magnet with a stick works too. So if you have on a steel board, you can do this. Steel panel. This works great. Just do magnets like that. Work really good. So you can do that. Now, if you're on an aluminum car, fiberglass car, that doesn't work. So hole punch. These work great. So all you do is you go around like this and go boop. And boop. 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 Oops, that was too close to the edge. It'll be fine. So you could do this. Okay, so now what you can do, Gerald, is now those little holes there, you can just do a little piece of tape like this. And this is great for when you don't have a plotter and you have paper cut, things like that. And this will keep it in place. And the cool thing is it'll keep it in place. Like you can pull it up, you can lift it off and put it back down. You know, because you got that there, you can literally go like that, check it, and push it back. So yeah, the first time I ever saw this technique was Michael Casey back in the day. tremendous airbrush artist, all around cool guy. I only met him that once. I actually was 2000. I did an airbrush action getaway as a student, and he was an instructor doing like the illustration. I was actually taking Craig Frazier's class. But see, now that keeps it nice and rigid. Because I want to do... I'm going to risk this, I think. Yeah, I think so. I want to do kind of a really spattery background. And I was, like I said, I was gonna do like actual splatter, but because it'll leak under, I can't do it. I was gonna like paint splatter and then spray it with water, let it drip and goo, but it'll get underneath, and I don't want that. But what I can do is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do like, we're gonna start with a blue glow. Okay, and then I'm gonna paint splatter it, I think. So this is an opaque daylight blue in Createx. I'm going to put that in. Let's see what we got here. Yeah. But I want to like... I really want to get aggressive with this. Yeah, see these spits? I'm going to just spit. And I'm going to wipe down. And spit. And wipe. Spit and wipe. Oh, maybe I'll do this actually. Guys, I'm winging it here. We're just gonna see what happens. Let's take this. I'm gonna do the old popsicle stick trick, and I'm just gonna do some big splatter, and then I'm just gonna. I just want this background really organic and really kind of messy. Like there's a lot of particulates in the air. And then we're going to do this glow. Like it's got a big spotlight behind it. Oh, I didn't do the 45s. Well, it's going to be a big square door. Rob's here. Thank you for joining us. Trickster, welcome. And with that being said, let's thank all my Down and Dirty Tricksters. Welcome to the family. Well, you've been here before, but let's thank you to everyone, including my Gold Skulls. That's getting bigger. Gold Skull's been here almost, I think, a year. So, it's really cool. I want to thank everyone for that. Let's bring up reference. There we go. And I gotta see, do I have a Gerald Mendez splatter effects? Old school. Yeah. I don't know how many years ago Gerald, if you're still here, Gerald, was this the first stencil you did? Before texture effects was splatter. Still love this one. It's fun because I'm going to do the splatter is going to be green. So actually I shouldn't do this yet because I want this to be like almost like backlit with the blue. Just don't use green. And then I'm going to do, let's take some white. We're going to lighten that up because I want it to be like a hotter spot. Oh, let's do this actually. So that was a daylight blue. No, there's gonna be some slime green, but I'm gonna do that here in like the jaw, the face, like it's blood, and then some blood splatter will be green. That's what I kind of decided. I already got it mixed up right there. Then I got a dark tone mixed up to shade it. And these are in my handy dandy medicine cup holders. All ready to go, and so I don't tip them over. Do that. That keeps me good. Mike Manning. Thank you, sir. Oh, your first was texture effects. Okay. I wasn't sure if texture came first. Let me talk to Gerald. Say hi. Hi, Gerald. Yeah, no, I wasn't sure which came first, if it was texture effects or if it was the splatter effects. So, I am selling them. I'm not selling the files. I haven't planned to. Yeah, I know shipping's a bit of a problem. But if you have a laser cutter and can do them yourself, it's not hard to design them. But I don't think I'm going to sell the files out, personally. No, it's not that Gerald, and this is the misconception. Gerald, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am because we've talked about this. Gerald's not afraid of green. It's not a hate green. It's not a like a superstition, like some Asian cultures, Japanese cultures, or I should say Asian. Green is like a bad luck color. It's not because of that. Gerald, correct me if I'm wrong. It's a color. Not blindness, but he doesn't see green well, so the green doesn't do anything for him. He doesn't see like that, if I remember right. Okay, so I got that opaque blue, and then I have just a regular transparent blue. So what I'm going to do in the background is I want to darken that up and kind of make it more blue. See what I'm doing here? So it's more of a gradient. And those splatters are still there. Five-pack quarter clear, and that was the duty charge. Yeah, trust me, it's not much cheaper here. Now, when you say $76.55, you're talking Canadian, I would imagine. There is a conversion. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to darken this up, so it basically gives that nice kind of gradation. Then when I pull this tape, you get a nice line. So if you're thinking about laser cutter, I have one. I bought the X-Tool S1 diode, which is cool. But if I had to do it again, I would have saved my money and I would have bought a CO2 laser, which I'm eventually going to do. So I would suggest holding off until you can get a CO2 laser, but then you're at the higher end class 4 lasers, which you really got to have a good ventilation or system to work them. But I do like my X-Tool S1. It is a nice unit. Yeah. There's benefits to the diode, but I wish I did CO2. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is close to it. I'm going to take that white mixed with the blue. And we'll do some I'm going to do little spatters because it's almost like particulates flying. Yeah, I think that'll be kind of cool. And the other thing we can do... Yeah, no, 3K, that's very reasonable. And, so the other thing I found out about laser, high wattage isn't necessarily the key. Because the higher the watt, the bigger the dot. So a low wattage, like 20, 30 watt, actually has a higher resolution than a higher wattage. And it was explained in a good way, like a 20, 30 watt is like a ultra fine point pen. So you'll get like 250, 300 lines of resolution on a pass or dots. Whereas a 40, 60, 90, the dot's actually a little bigger. So there's, and obviously you can control it in the passes, things like that. But yeah, the lenses can change the resolution as well. But yeah, you got to keep that in mind. It's not just about the power. So it depends if you're cutting versus engraving is what I've come to learn is the difference. Like, obviously a 90 watt, you can cut through like half-inch material really well with it. Let's see, Gerald, yeah. Partially colorblind, so I'm confused. Some tones or colors, so most of my artwork uses bright colors. Yeah. So I was cutting, so I'm cutting, actually my cuts came out really great. So I was doing 5mm black acrylic with my 40 watt diode. It cuts beautiful. So no, you can cut Mylar with 10mm. It just depends on the passes. One pass, multiple passes, and what the detail shape is like. And how fast you want to do it. If you get into production, then it's different than, like, I'm going to cut one or two. Because I have my 20 watt laser and my 40 watt. My 20 watt will cut 5-10mm, no problem. You're just not going to do it fast. So, that's something to consider. But I am by no means an expert on it. Alright, let's give the background like a little bit. I haven't used these in a while. We'll just give it a little swirl. Oh, something happening before. But I want to get some of this going on. Just the background, so there's a little something going on. Yeah, if you do that, you can do it with anything. Your vector programs are in the air, or the vector files you downloaded? You can re-download them. Just find your old email. You can download them a couple times. If you can't, let me know. I can re-pull it up. Let's get these corners just a little bit brighter. And we'll do a nice bright blue pinstripe. So now this should give me, so if I pull this off now, I should use my gold tape because this tape's a little too aggressive for there. Something I cannot get off the phone now. Yeah, but just go to the email and re-download them. So go to your email wherever you downloaded it, because you got an email for your downloads. Search your emails, you should be able to just go right back in. You could do up to 3 full downloads without me having to get involved typically. Okay, so now it's cool because I can do this. I can pop these off. And see, now you get a nice silhouette of everything going on. And now, I want to do, because I want to have this popping out, I want to have this popping out. That's just that. That's easy. Oh, Gary's got a bid. Thank you, sir. And we're going to do some green in there as well. Actually, maybe I'll do that now before I get into here. Okay, actually, you know what? Let's do, I want to get some of that green blood spatter in now before we even do this. So let's get this back on. fits right back in nicely. Let's go back to, I should have did this earlier, the gold tapes. The gold tape's much nicer because it doesn't pull, doesn't shred the paper at all. It releases a lot easier. Okay. Had a hot day again here. It's getting hot up here, even with my ACs on. I got the AC on low, so it's not loud, but man, it's getting up there. Getting hot. Alright, so let's go to, I think it's the lime time or limelight green. Yeah. Now let's get some splatter in here. Yeah, that looks cool. I love this one right here where it's like flinging a piece. It's just printer paper. It's nothing fancy. So, and I'm getting a little saturated. You could use like cardstock or bonded paper or photo paper if you want to be a little bit more harsh on it, but it's just regular printer paper. Nothing crazy. And yeah, I'm working fast, so it's definitely pulling back a little bit. Let's see if I like that at all. I'm going to do some more splatter. Do the old popsicle stick. There we go. Splattery. It's fun. It's cool, just enough. Or flick your gun. Flicking the gun doesn't really do much. But off a popsicle stick works great. Just a little bit down there. Cool. Yeah, that's nice. Alright. Alright, so that's cool. So now we can go in. Let's go in here. Let's just, I'm going to do a lot of this guy with the daylight blue, I think. So daylight blue, drop a white, lighten it up a little bit, and we'll do a lot of the detailing with that. So actually watch, what I can do, this would be good, because I could probably do a little mix of both. We can get a little bit of Gerald, a little bit of texture effects in here, especially in here. Yeah, let's do some detailing. Okay. Bring this down. There we go. So if you're not good at freehand and you don't want to freehand the whole thing, and I could do it freehand, but I always try to make this more of a lesson. Everyone struggles with teeth, so if you don't have the freehand ability to do teeth, let's just cut them out. Okay? So I just put a cutting board under my mat, under my artwork, and let's cut out the teeth. You can just do a couple. We can get him framed, and then we'll get this framed. You can cut them out individually, or I'm just going to cut a row so I have something as a gauge. So I can do that. We'll do this tooth here, separate, or fang. Are they teeth when they're fangs, or are they just fangs? And the alien teeth are really, like, they're kind of glassy when you look at them. Alright, so what I can do now is I can take that off because it's hinged. And I can still see my registration. And now I'm going to do... See what I did? Anyone notice that? Because I didn't put it in my holder. That's why I made the holder, so I don't do that. But I didn't put it in the holder, so what happened? Spilt my damn paint. Grrr, Mondays. That's why you need one of these, but the key is you got to use them. They are McKayFineArt.com. Dumb question. Why wouldn't you do the secondary jaw first? Because I don't need to. Yet it's secondary, so I want the primary teeth first. So I can kind of hide these in. These are foreground, so remember I'm painting a dark background. So when I'm on a light surface, I go background to foreground, right? When I'm on a dark surface, it's opposite. I paint foreground to background, really. Pressure down a little bit. But it's not a dumb question. It's a legit question. Nice sound. So I just did a little pulsing in here. Let's see if we can go and show it there. So you can see how each tooth, I just do kind of the hot spot in the centers. Or you can just like bridge the whole thing, whichever. But see now, those are going to be the brightest point. So that's why I do them first. Now I can do the secondary if I want. So watch, and you'll see kind of how that works. Oops, I almost cut directly on the panel. Clean what drip? What drip? Clean that drip with alcohol. What drip? What is this? Yeah. Yeah, that, yeah. I can clean it with alcohol. So my veg stays nice and clean. All clean. Right, Gerald? Thank you. Now we got them saved. Unfortunately, this one, that one's staying, man. That one won't come out. Yeah, it will if I really work it. I work a lot messier than Gerald does. Gerald is Mr. Clean compared to me. So now I'm going to do this. Oh, actually, I forgot one of the teeth is here, actually. Hold on. So, I'm going to go back just to keep continuity. Yes, Gerald is super clean. So, Gerald, were you always meticulous with cleaning, like as far as working clean? Or is that something that came out of working for Disney as well? I'm interviewing Gerald as we do this. I'm sure he's going to be, it was always very tidy. I kind of get that about Gerald. Having hung with him, luckily, a lot and roomed with him. So, see, I'm just hitting in here, just lightly, very little. But you'll notice by doing that now, when I pull it back, it's a very light registration. So I had another color off to the side, and I just freaking spilt that too. Clean up. In a minute, guys. My red paint spilled all over this. There we go. Sorry about that. What a minute, I just dinged my solar. Oh, that's always fun. Alright, there we go. Got that all sorted. A lot of stuff going on when you're doing a live feed. A lot of stuff, a lot of stuff. And then I'm just cutting that out here. And see, this is just, you know, if you're plotting, you'd be just pulling this stuff out. So it's the same thing. That's why my techniques work with both. Oh, we got a big rain and windstorm. I was just hearing something. I was just hearing like, and I guess we got a big rainstorm and windstorm going on. So if I lose power, sorry. I just heard like rain hitting the side of the roof. Oops. Yeah, the rain was like. Wow. Alright. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I want to just get a good separation for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically cut the whole silhouette of this guy. Oh, actually, I should be doing him first. So I'm actually going to do that. So before I do this, I got to get the tail, because the tail's in the foreground. So Brian, this comes down to like which to do first. I'm on a dark surface, so I got to work foreground to background. So let's do this. Let's get this shape registered. Are Virgos like clean and meticulous? Is that what it is? I'm not very up on that stuff. Other than I'm a Gemini, and so I flip back and forth, I guess. And I guess that's kind of true. I do sometimes have a split personality. So now I should be able to do this. Alright, for now, let's see. I should be able... hand... I can lift him up. So this I gotta hold into place. Oh, no. Because that would be the opposite. See, I'm turned around here. So this here goes like this. Because this is foreground, remember. So you just gotta keep it in mind. Dark surfaces are the opposite. And I gotta just do this. I'm gonna cut that piece of tape. There. And then he's going to stay inside. The last cut made you nervous. So now I'm just, this is just registration. That's all I'm doing. Okay, that's it. It's just for shape. See how little I painted? That's all it takes just to break that out. And now what I'm going to do, and I can save this. You need to save them as you go. Oh, right here, I didn't use the mat. I just soft touched it. The more you do it, the better you get with a knife. Okay, so now that's here. Like this, I'm not even going to bother. Look, I'm just going to go here, here, here. Single cut, not a big deal. Again, this is just so I can hit right here with a highlight and hit right here. That's just for registration. I'll take this off, and now No, Gerald is a master at the swivel knife. I hate them. They don't work for me. Whoa. Yeah, that was a big one. We got some lightning going. So let's see here. Let's see if I'm thin enough. No, this is not thin enough. So what I'm going to do I'm going to switch it to the like serious detail. So I'm going to go to my micron. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to super thin the paint. Now my paint's already been reduced. It's already been thinned. I mean, it's been reduced. And it's been strained twice. But I'm going to put reducer in the gun. And the same color I'm working with here, which is thicker for like coverage and opacity, I'm going to put that in here. But to make it even thinner, I'm going to take one of these ultra fine strainers. I'm going to put that in. And I think I got a little too much reducer. Oh, Jesus. And I'm going to strain that into my micron. So I'm using Wicked for all this. I'm not using illustration. But I use the illustration quite a bit. But on a metal panel, with the illustration, and I'm not going to be doing erasing, then I got to add 40/50 to it a little bit more to get a heavier bond. So I typically use the Wicked because it's already built in. I strain into everything, but definitely into the micron. Oh, there's a bit of 200 on this one. Last I knew. Last I checked. Okay. And this is definitely going to go on to most likely a second feed. Because I did so much talking and prep. That I love my swivel knife. The trick is to use the right one. Exactly professional. So yeah, I have one. I like it, but when it gets down to where I need it, I'll just plot it. So yeah, maybe it's a little bit more of a crutch. I just don't use them enough to really get good at it. Alright, so I'm going to exaggerate the skull a little more just to give it a little bit of my own style. But we'll darken it down so it won't be as pronounced. We've got one of Tommy Ham's texture stencils here. We'll put a little bit of this back into here because there's a good reflection on the head. And then we'll use this to get a really nice, heavy reflection. And there's some line work. I know the Xenomorphs pretty well, so I'm making up a lot as I go. And there's going to be a lot of grit in here. But if you ever watch Giger draw these things and paint them, very organic, very loose. So I'm going to keep a lot of that in feel and texture. Oh yeah, another good one. I don't want another lightning strike and lose another damn piece of equipment. So if this gets any louder and crazier, I'm going to probably cut the feed short, actually. And I can't afford them to lose another piece of equipment after last time. Even with surge protectors. What's the story of a Xenomorph? What do you mean, what's the story of a Xenomorph? You want me to go into the lore of the Xenomorph and everything to do with aliens, or? So, the Xenomorphs are from the movie Aliens, obvious, if you don't know. And basically, they start out as like an egg sac with a face hugger guy in there. And they attach themselves to another organism, and they grow in their stomach. And then they pop out of the chest as a little thing. They turn into these big assholes. Really? Are you still planning on a challenge? Yeah, at some point. I painted them already for on a job, so it's not something I'm like longing to do at this point. And in the process of the Charon I did would be the same as this, realistically. Well, because they come from humans. So if you remember, the way the face huggers work is the egg sac opens, the little face hugger attaches to a face. And then it lays and it goes in the body, and then it comes out. So it takes the DNA of whatever it hosts. And that's why the human skull, if you really look, is actually in there, because it's the ones we knew from the movies came from a human. So they have a human skull embedded in, because it's the DNA is where it's based off of. If you watch other movies later on, and when they got to the AVP stuff, another one got into a predator from Predator, the Uguay, whatever they're called. And that one had the four mandibles of a predator with the predator kind of skull in it. So, because they're basically a parasite, it's like a host. So, there's actually, when you look at a predator, if you look online, you'll see it's actually meant to be clear. The dome's clear, and you can actually see a little bit of the skull in there. I'm just going to over-exaggerate it. So in here, I'm just really freehanding a lot of like the way the kind of jaw works. Yeah, AVPs are fun. Actually, my daughter got into we watched the first AVP. It was really good, actually. The second one's a little meh after that. But the new animation they just did, which is Predator Killer of Killers, it was on Disney Plus. It's amazing. Really cool. And then I do like the actual Prey series, which came out, which is the latest one. And that's what I painted the last one. I used the one from Prey. And there's kind of a tube here. There's all sorts of little stuff going on here. Now I'm just registering it in because we're going to do a lot of it with black details. So we're just kind of getting the bearings. This is the arm. And you're not going to see much of this. This is really just in silhouette. And I'm just kind of winging it. Like I'm not even looking at reference. I'm just kind of going what I think should be there. Definitely like, I think Predators was good. Or the different planet. Oh, yeah, that was cool. But if you have Disney Plus, or I think you get Hulu as well, because it's the same company. Predators Killer of Killers is the animated one. It's freaking great. And it's set up for the next one. Really cool. Like they do one as they were in like feudal Japan with samurai. So samurai versus, and there's one Viking. It's like a whole series, and they take those guys, and yeah, it's really cool. I don't want to give a lot of it away, but... Oh, I want this one and this one to come off of the screen, like out of the... Like it's going to come out of the framework. Look over face of Maryland crowd. You see the prayer. Oh yeah, that's cool. So here's kind of like the shoulder and the ribs kind of coming down this arm. And by the time this is done, the skull's going to be super faint. So don't take too much stock in it. It's just there for like registration. And this is going to be pretty black. Yeah. Just getting it set up. Okay, so now it's just, Brian, it's just a lot of practice. Yeah, the big thing is brush control. You know, being able to come in and just, you know, more freehand and understanding shading and light and dark. And you're getting it. It's just going to take time. Yeah, Mike, I'll have to look that up. I always love like crustaceans and insects and It's, yeah, same thing here, man. 36 years and I'm still practicing. It does not come fast. It does not come easy. Anyone who tells you it does, look, if you do certain techniques and a lot of like scratching and erasing and templating and, you know, a lot of the photorealism stuff, you can really get away with minimal brush control and a lot of technique. When you start doing a lot of freehand and sketching on the fly with the airbrush, nothing but net. But that realism techniques and stuff, that's going to help you understand light, dark, and shading. So that's equally as important. Like when I go and do, was it next year I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be doing the airbrush days. My focus there when I do that class is going to be more on developing without a reference. Developing a painting, working from an idea and how to sketch it and put it together, and working from nothing to do a piece. Not working from a photo reference and working from that and having the information there to replicate with amazing technique and dedication. So that's my goal there, is to showcase that type of stuff. So, like, we could go in here and do all this freehand, okay? But, if you don't mind destroying the piece you've cut, which is right here, watch what I'm going to do. Just like I would plot, I'm going to work my way backwards. And I am going to cut here. That's okay. The key is to cut once, so watch. I'm going to do this first. I'm going to cut here. Okay, watch. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to highlight off that edge. See? That gives, whoops, sorry. I cut that and go in here. Now I got to go the other way for this because the way these are stacked. So this one is above this, so that way it's brighter. But all these, this one is in front of this one's in front of this one, this one's in front of this one. So I got to work from this way back. So what I'm going to do here is actually... Oh, wait. Nope. I got it wrong. If I cut that way because I'm on dark, I got to go this way. This is over this, but because I'm on dark, I got to go this way. So watch, I'm going to cut that out. Like this. And get this in place. And I'm just going to paint the highlight of how it catches the light right there like that. This is where it's better if you had it like a transfer tape or a plotted mask down. Because watch the next one. Go here. And I'm just going to keep on going. Again, I'm not relying on this for the end result. I'm going to freehand most of that. Just work your way through. See how it pulls away? See how you're getting that stack already? Zoom in a little bit. Yeah, I could use the magnets. I do need a new blade because this one's tipped already. Yeah, so I could just do this. take a magnet, put that, and hold that there like that. Yeah, that's better. Cut that away, and fray. Cut this away. We do have the bottom here like this, see? This could probably focus a little better. Again, this is really loose and kind of messy. I'm going to tighten it up as I do freehand work later. So this is kind of that sketch stage. And a lot of guys get hung up here. And they get worried because it doesn't look exactly like the end result should. Don't get too hung up on that. Like, I'm not even worried about this. It's going to be kind of out of focus. And it can just be loose, loose. There you go. All right. And now, we're going to frame the bottom right here. And this is going to frame. And no, I'm not using the cutting board. That's fine. I'm just cutting the silhouette. One cut. This would be the same if I'm cutting a mask on the car. Around the hood. Just one pass. You can't double cut because then you're going to see it. So now watch. We're going to pull this there. Pull that out. Whoops. Didn't cut through all the way. But again, just loose. No stress, no stress. Hey Brian, what's happening? Guess we lost who? Who did we lose? I'm here. Just silhouetting. Just tonight is just layout. Getting it worked in, setting it up for the details. And really just, that was the moisture I let out. Getting that transferred in. I'm actually going to do another transfer to get some inking on there so I can see where everything is. See where the hand is. And we'll put some more splatter down here. Because he's going to be really in silhouette. Ah. Because I want most of this being black. And we'll get a little bit of more texture down in here. The arm comes down here like this. Just sketch. This is not technical. This is putting in. The one thing about Giger's aliens or aliens in general is you gotta really keep it loose and organic. not overly structured. Because it'll start looking too rigid. It's gotta stay loose. And at this stage, you can afford to just kind of noodle around. This arm kind of comes down here. Then I'm just kind of going to ghost it in and just set up for doing detail work. Because remember, when you're on a light, dark surface like black, it's okay to bring up the contrast bright, but not full white. Notice I'm not using pure white. If we use pure white here, it's going to be a real problem. I'm staying in that mid-tone range, and now I can start cutting back down with darker details. But this is my kind of underpainting sketch layer is just set up. You got to be careful painting gear, because you end up starting making things look like penises and other stuff, which is kind of intended in his work, but you got to kind of keep it a little bit subdued. If I gotta do a vinyl cutter over this, cut out, no vinyl at all. This is all just paper cut and freehand. Because all I gotta do, if I want to cut more details, I have more printouts. You know, I can just cut and shade, but I really want to just freehand to keep it kind of dirty. Has always had a skull, just more noticeable, more recent movies, yeah. No, I don't have a concrete idea. Not really. I mean, I do, but I don't. I have, this is the idea where I'm at. And I'm just going to make it look cool. So this is the difference, and this is kind of hard for some people, but it gets better the more you do it. It's practice. The more you create, the more you start not relying on source material or reference material or something to look at. But it just comes with time and practice. And sometimes it's just how you want it to look, and just trusting yourself to make it look how you want to look. Yeah, so I'm going with the blue color scheme as if they're all black, and you got that kind of bluish light going on is kind of what I'm doing. You get that kind of blue side light, and then we're going to have the green splatter and some green effects and just kind of pop it and just see if it works. My goal really here, oops, sorry, hit the wrong button, that was fade to black. The goal here is to set it up so I can really push the dark. And I'll kind of give you an example of it before I wrap it up for the night, because that's happening shortly. So let me go to my dark, my black. Actually, 79, it has a skull. Yeah, if you look back at that old one, it has a skull. I always wanted that damn figure. I never got it. I think they're pretty valuable, too, if you got a really good condition one. Oh wow, nice, new in the box. Yeah. So I got one of these that Jim Maddox printed for me a while ago. I actually got a couple things. Walk over here and grab it. Oh yeah, I forgot I could talk to you while I walk around, because I have the lavalier mic. So I got, this was Chris Mooring. Anyway, that's an alien egg, which is really cool. They sent it to me. And then this was almost full scale of an alien head. You can see the skull, like temple here. You don't see the nose and eyes this one. This is the way it was done. But this is kind of like if it didn't have the dome on, you'd see the like vertebrae in it. And kind of bone structure and inner vertebrae is really kind of wild. That's cool. And that's big too. Like if I switch out to here, I mean it's good size. But like that's the look I'm going for. So like see how that is almost silhouette, but you can see the detail. Imagine like with that blue light, that's kind of the look I'm going for. That silhouette. So I've already brought the contrast way up. Now I can start carving back the detailed black and doing those final highlights to get that kind of glow. Jim Maddox 3D printed that from years ago. I think you can find the file on Thingiverse if you have a 3D printer. It's a bunch of pieces. So now with this like blackish blue, this is where I can start coming in. So watch how this starts to work. I start carving the contrast like here and push that shoulder back into the background, right? Let's just start pushing it. I gotta send this down a little more. And really just start pushing everything back. And doing oops. Sweet, clear. You just start working it darker and darker. In this face, we're going to just slowly bring in I'm just going to slowly shade it. My brush is a little clogged. I think this micron needs a little TLC to get it tuned up just right. I love the side feeds. I didn't get one until a few years back, and now they have pretty much become my go-to for most of my brushes. This is not tuned up right. But yeah, that's basically what I'm gonna be doing. We are getting close to all I can handle tonight. So before I go too far, that's just kind of a taste of what I'm thinking. You know, we'll get this all blacked out. All this will be in more silhouette. A lot of freehanding, and we'll bring out the highlights. But like that's going to be mostly in the background. The tail whip thing. Let's see if I get a better curve, better template I can use. Actually, I could probably use his head. Same shape. See? and just start to pop things out and push things back. This is really going to be a lot. Blue and the green. Yeah, I think it'll have a really cool pop. So let's see how Monday night goes. I don't think I'm going to do it tomorrow. I got a letter 2 cars tomorrow. Maybe over the weekend I'll even. Stay tuned on the channel. Look at my socials. If you don't know my socials by now, they're right here. I'll post up when I'm going to jump back on this one. And we will wrap this up before next Thursday or one night. But this was a good start. I dig it. I think the new mic is definitely working a lot better for everyone. I think I'm a lot clearer sounding when I've watched this back. Yeah. So, it is 9:10. It is now 82 degrees up here. We start with some lightning and thunder. So before I push it any further, I'm going to stop right there and call it a night. Have a good weekend, everyone. Thanks for popping in. I do have we have something happening Monday. I'll talk to you all when it happens. So that's going to be kind of cool. Little addition to the household. Yeah. So everyone have an awesome Thursday night. Have a great weekend. Stay up on the feeds, and I will let you know when I am going to be finishing this. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the bid. I will keep that in queue, and we will wrap this up and go from there. Talk to you guys later. Have a good night. See ya.